Welcome to the Valve Studio for April 4th, 2016. Talk a little bit about some things I got at an estate sale this week. First thing is a Voice of Music VM-1448. This is an integrated tube amplifier that's stereo. This thing is in excellent condition. The output stage here are 4 6 AQ5s. And the preamps, there's 3 6 EU7 tubes in here. This thing is in mint condition. It's got all the feet, all the knobs work, there's no scratches. I'm tempted to take this case off and get this thing going right away, but I'm not going to do it. I've got more important things, well, more urgent things to do. I did get this thing as well. This is a Knight T50 Transmitter. The ham guys know what this is. I picked this up because I think that the people that were running the estate sale were probably going to pitch this. To them it looks like junk, but this is actually a really nice case. And inside of here, if I can get this case open, this thing's nothing but trouble here. It has a really large power transformer and a very large triode tube as a transmitting tube. It's got a power supply choke and a 5EU4 rectifier. I looked on eBay for this, and I also found that there's a Facebook group, news group for this T50. I posted there and at their Google page to find out if someone wanted this. Otherwise, I'll turn that into something else. Here's a box of tubes just to show you that the person running the estate sale didn't quite know what they were pricing. This is a 12AX7 priced at $475. It's kind of inflated. Here's another one. Then I got 2 mystery tubes. I think these are, well, I think that this one here is a dual triode as well. I don't know what this one is. This one's probably a pentode. This one, the marking's gone. And I got a plumb bob. And the last thing I got was this thing over here. This is a Conar voltmeter, tube voltmeter, VTVM. It didn't come with a case, but I got the guts out of it. It's got a little D battery down here, probably for biasing the grid. And that thing didn't leak. It's probably a 30-year-old battery. Don't quite know what I'm going to do with this yet, but I got all 3 of these things here for $40, which is a great bargain. Next thing here in the lab is to work on these speakers, I needed to not be wiring up my speakers all the time, so I 3D printed this little piece of plastic, and I have a binding post on here as well as a 1/4-inch jack, mono jack, and I wired this in. These binding posts are really nice. I can run wires in from the bottom, or I can run banana jacks into the top. And what I'm going to do is mount this on my my bench, and I'm going to have one of these for 4 ohms, one of these for 8 ohms, and also for my stereo output. I also printed this pointer out of PLA. I'm going to use this in my videos. Here I'm just demonstrating using it on a schematic. But what I really want to do is use this pointer in live circuits so I don't stick my hand in there or a probe or anything and inadvertently short something while I'm talking on these videos. So this is my my new pointer. Here are those 3D printed mounting things mounted to my bench. I got 4 ohms and 8 ohms going over to my speakers. And then over here on my amplifier, I got an output stage coming off of the B circuit, so I can run speakers, test speakers and amplifiers from my amplifier there. Here's AJ's GA-15RVT. This is what we're going to work on today. And get this thing running. It had some problems before. I also brought in a hanger for my Gibson guitar amplifier. My guitar here, this is it's called the Paul. I bought this at a pawn shop in 1981. This thing has a really clean output, and so I'll turn it over here. Some of the viewers actually recommended I check the speaker of this thing to find out maybe the speaker's got a little problem with it, the excursion on it. So I used my setup here, and I connected this amplifier up to my bench speaker and ran it for a little while, and that didn't show anything. So I connected up my solid state amplifier back here with my test signals and played some music on this thing, and that didn't reveal anything else. So I plugged it all back together and I started playing it, and it kind of took a turn for the worse. So it's definitely has a problem internally. I'll go ahead and turn it on. I have it connected up to my my Gibson guitar right here, and you can hear it's kind of humming a lot, and it's doing that thing that it was doing before when AJ was here. And the interesting part is, I suspect it's a bad preamp too, because I can tap it and get a little microphonics. Now it's going to be fine. Well, not really. But there you go. See, the hum went away now. So we got, go ahead and take it apart here. Maybe I'll just check that tube before we get started. Put another one in and see if it goes away. Other than that, we'll continue on our quest to get this thing get it out of my lab here and get it on the road with AJ. All right, let's see what happens. First thing I worked on was I came through and I tapped all these tubes. The first time I did this one on the right, which is one of the preamp tubes, really crackled a lot when I did this. An interesting thing to notice here is this left-hand tube is visibly glowing a lot brighter than its counterpart. So there's some additional problem going on with this tube amplifier. I'll have to dig into that. I do have one of these thermal cameras for my phone, so I got that out and I took this thermal image to kind of see if that left-hand tube was actually running a lot hotter. You can't see that in this thermal image, but you did see in the visible one that it was burning a lot brighter. Let's take a look at the schematic for the GA-15RVT. We'll start at the power supply here. Here's a power transformer. It's got a full-wave rectifier using diodes, and here's the main filter capacitor here. And it goes through a RC network here for additional filtering, and then it goes through a second stage one here for the preamp. Someone has gone in and added some additional components to the power supply, namely right here in the circuit. They've broken this node and they put in an LC network with, looks like there's a 10 Henry inductor with an additional capacitor to ground right here, and that provides a very clean signal to the preamp. The phase inverter is done with a coupling transformer between the preamp and the output tubes here. They have a shared cathode bias resistor, and they also with a bypass capacitor here. The output transformer is capable of driving 2 speakers. Here's the foot pedal schematic over here. Unfortunately, the foot pedal for this amplifier was lost. So in a previous repair job, I came in here and I actually jumpered across the this connector on the inside of the amplifier so that the tremolo circuit would function. It uses a Colpitts oscillator. Here's the reverb tank. It's driven by a 12AU7, and the output from that reverb is amplified and mixed in with the coupling transformer. The preamp tubes are 6 EU7s. Here's the tone stack in between them. So I figured I needed some 6 EU7s. So I went through and I started looking through my tubes to see if I had one. No, I don't want that one. I want, this one here. This 60U7 is a high mu twin triode designed for high fidelity circuits where for low noise and hum. So if we scroll down here, I'll show you the pinout for it. For those of you who've done this before, you'll notice something that's kind of unusual about this tube. The filament itself here is connected between pin 1 and 2, not between 4 and 5 like it is on most of these 9-pin tubes. So that's a problem. So I need to find in all my tubes that I have, I need to find some of these replacement parts for this. No, not the 12AX7. Hold on, I got the wrong pin here. I want this one. I have some of these 5687 twin triodes, but unfortunately it's general purpose. It's also medium U, and the pinout for it shows the filament is connected between 4 and 5. It's also a 12-volt tube, so this really isn't very much of a replacement. I did some searching around, and some people say, well, can I just use an AX7 for this? And you can use an AX7, but it also has a filament between 4 and 5, and pin 9 is a center tap for that. So I considered doing this, but I didn't just decide not to. I want to keep the amplifier as pristine as I can. So I put it all back together, figuring I better order some of those tubes, and it turns out that amplifier I got at that estate sale had them. I didn't realize that until much later. But I put it all back together, and I figured I'd try it again, and here's what I found out. So here I have the amplifier out on my bench, and I'm trying out a few things here. I have it all back with the original tubes. I really haven't done anything at this point, but it's working fine. Volume works, tremolo works, reverb works, everything works. It's not exhibiting its problem that it had before. So I'm actually kind of perplexed now. I don't want to return it because it started working, and I wanted to actually find the problem. So I figured by tapping those tubes, what I did was I reseated some of the preamp tubes, which is what I do believe was the original problem. I took contact cleaner and I sprayed all the tube sockets, and I reseated all the tubes, and that seemed to solve it, because it doesn't exhibit any problems now at all. I went through and resoldered all these connections on these tube sockets as well, and this one right here was loose. As I touched it with the soldering iron, and this wire just popped off. So this was definitely a cold solder joint. And this was probably an original problem that came from the Gibson plant. That particular wire is the grid connection right here on this driver for the reverb tank. And in that video you just saw, I didn't have the reverb tank in the circuit. So I believe that that's really the main problem, was that wire was loose, and I couldn't find it with the reverb tank out. Here's the final checkout for AJ's amplifier. Like I did say that I did find a couple of problems. I think the major problem was the preamp tubes need to be reseated. They're kind of dirty, so I went ahead and put some contact cleaner in all the tube sockets, and wiggled things and got all that cleaned out of there. And then when I was resoldering all those connections in there, I did find that one grid on the reverb tank driver that was kind of faulty. I did play this guy for about 20 minutes. It didn't exhibit any of the problems it had before, and I was playing it on 10. And in this small room here, it is actually pretty loud. For 10 watts, this thing This thing is really loud. My left ear is ringing from playing it. Then my wife came in and was surprised I was playing it so loud without any ear protection. Because I don't even do like a leaf blower without my ear protection in. But this is rock and roll, damn it. So go ahead and turn this on. We'll show you do the final checkout here. So the first thing I'll do is I'll get this guy up to about 5 on the volume, and my guitar is set around 5. So you can see that it's real clean. There's no hum, there's no noise, there's nothing. It's like it's really nice at this level. Here's the tremolo. Go ahead and turn this up here. That works fine. Here's the reverb. That's all good. Then what AJ did when he came over to check that before was he just went ahead and turned it up to 10 without any problems, and I just started plunking around on it. So it doesn't have any of those problems before. I did play this thing for about 20 minutes on 10, and you know, I think it's good to go. So I'm going to run this over to Denver, give it to AJ, let him play with it a little bit. I'm pretty confident this time I solved the problems with this Gibson GA-15. That's it for today. Thanks for watching the Valve Studio.